Grainne Tyndall, I have heard of her so often, so many times when I've spoken to you about numerology or talked about the sort of cycles in life and the fact that within numerology that we have several 9-year cycles and all of that kind of wonderful, hopeful stuff. People have either said to me, mentioned Grainne Tyndall's name, or I have said to them to go and look her up and maybe even contact her because she seems to be the go-to person. Grainne is an international numerologist. She is a spiritual healer. She is an intuitive psychic. You're a Reiki master and a number of other things. She's held dozens of very successful workshops throughout the country and beyond, and has appeared on TV many times in Ireland. So she's a household name for an awful lot of people. And look, I'm going to just go straight over to you, Grainne, and say welcome. Thank you so much for coming to speak with us this week.
Lovely to be here. When I hear someone talk about me, and here I am in my little house in Arklow, I go, God, who's she talking about? It's me. Thank you so much. That's a beautiful introduction. Thank you, Trina. I really
all the
appreciate
truth. And you very warmly received. I tentatively said, will you come and speak this? And, you know, I really hoped that you would come at this time of the year because you have so much to tell us. I mean, lots and lots to tell us about this particular year. Seems to be huge. I've been listening to your wonderful podcast, Numbers for Success, and your warmth and your hopefulness and your beautiful ability to just pour from yourself. It's as though you're downloading and literally pouring forth. Is that what's happening? What's happening?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always been an avid reader and researcher. And when I have an interest in something, which obviously in my case is spirituality, numerology, you know, being the best version of yourself, I just find that when I'm in that zone, it really does come through. It really does. And I mean, I wasn't always like that, but it's just from years and years of practice and trusting, really. And I've always been fairly intuitive, obviously, but it's only in the last maybe 25 years that it's just, especially in the last few years, it's just downpouring. So I'm very honored. I mean, I'm no one special in that anyone can do what I do. It's just that it's my life purpose. So that's what I'm here tonight to talk about and to help you
tell me, Grainne, is there anything about you when you were a little girl or even a teenager that might have suggested that this was going to be the path you would take?
Oh, yes, yes. I'm originally from Dublin. My mother would have been from the west of Ireland, from Spiddal. So I would have come from a family of musicians and storytellers. So my grandmother, Mamo, was a Shanachie, you know, she would be keener, if you will. And also people would come from far and wide. Even the BBC recorded her telling stories. So we like to talk in my family. And but my father was a musician, so you know, very musical background. So I love music and I love acting and I love performing per se. So yeah, from a very young age, very sensitive. Could see auras around people. I had a wonderful spirit guide at the time, because spirit guides change, as probably all your lovely people know. But my spirit guide when I was about 3 or 4 was this enormous Egyptian, and he had the most beautiful, like pitch black skin, and that was it. Like his skin was so dark, and he used to wear a purple rose with gold, and he'd stand in the corner like this, like genuinely like this. And I used to call him Mr. Sandyman, you know, because I used to say to my father, you know, I'd say about the man in the corner, and my father was very intuitive, and he'd say, oh, well, look, he's Mr. Sandyman. He's going to help you fall asleep. So that went on till I was about 8. And then I shut down at 8 until I was probably, till I went through a series of, I guess, tragedies or breakthroughs, as most of us go through, that kick-started me to awakening. And I was about 32. Right. So I'm now 26 years. So you can do the math.
We won't bother. You're gorgeous.
Now you know how old I am.
So at that age, you began to really return to Mr. Sandyman and others. Did Mr. Sandyman come back to you at all and guide you in the right direction, or how did you know?
A little bit. Took a little while, but I used to see, again, in a group like this, I can say this, I used to see fairies, elementals.
Yeah,
I could see, you know, in the trees, and I could see them on the grass. And again, I never told anybody. So I kind of came out of the psychic closet, if you will, at the age of 32. And usually 32, 33 Can be sometimes after Saturn return. Some of you are probably astrologers of interest. I'm not an astrologer. I just have a huge interest. But so for me, around the age of 28, 29, I've been traveling all of my 20s. I was living in Canada, as if I'm pointing over to it. And I got this burning desire to come back to
Mhm.
Ireland. And it was the beginning then of really starting to question, like, who am I? Like, why am I here? I think we all go through that. But around the age of 33, and 33 is a master number, and it's usually a turning point. So there may be some of your fine people here who are 33 or have been 33, and it tends to be a time when things reawaken. And
Right.
that's really when my life kick-started back into my true purpose, if you will. I mean,
Okay.
I was working in a corporate background, so which
That's
is so
interesting.
far removed from what I do now. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes, your own environment is something that's the block, really. But the fact that you were able to, I suppose, return to what you always were. And can I ask you, Grania, you are also an artist's way. Oh my God, I think I have every book Julie Cameron ever wrote. I just adore that woman. But you're an artist's way workshop uh,
Yeah.
facilitator. And have you
Yeah.
done it very long?
I've been doing it for 25 years. Yes.
Ah,
Twice a
yes.
year. So I just
Uh-huh.
started a new group last night, actually, online. And that course changed my life. That was again part of the package, if you will, that catapulted me into my work. Because when I started doing the Artist Way, my youngest daughter now was 22. So it was 22 years ago, actually, I
Mhm,
started doing the Artist Way myself.
mhm.
Um, when I started doing the morning pages and the tasks, I realized that my creativity had been stunted for quite some time by my own doing, I had. And then it all started to open up, and I wrote children's cards, angel cards for kids. I wrote books.
Mhm.
I wrote a lot of articles. And that's when I really got into the media work. And then I met the beautiful Margaret Nailon,
Yeah.
who you've mentioned, who I truly love. And she definitely works with me now. We're very
I'm
dear friends.
so
Yeah.
glad to hear that, actually,
Oh, yeah.
because, and some of us here, I know my sister-in-law Gail and Eileen McDermott Rowe as well. The two of us, the three of us, actually did a course with her just before she passed, and we have the most amazing memories of her. Her work was
Oh,
amazing. I'm
I
so pleased
love
to hear
Margaret.
she's working with you still. I'm not a bit
Very much.
surprised.
Very.
Yeah.
I call her in. I called her in tonight. I said, "Come on, Margaret, let's have a chat with
Did
these fine
you?
folks."
Well,
Oh God, yeah. No, I have a big team that I work with, and she's definitely one of them. I call her, especially when it comes to something like this, because she really was the person who got me to really open up again. It was all there. It just hadn't been. It had been the tap had been switched off,
yeah.
and then it all came back. Yeah,
And
which
began
is
to appear.
very
And
authentic.
so what did you do next? How did how have you come to this? So where did numerology come into it, or perhaps even your more spiritual or intuitive
Mm.
gifts? How did you move forward with that?
Yeah. Well, I suppose it really began when I was married to at the time, and I was 28, and I was starting to get a bit broody. And I remember I had a cat, and I used to hold the cat like a baby. And I remember Thomas saying to me, "Gosh, you're holding that cat very strange." But it was like because I was starting to get really maternal, which I love children, but I wasn't particular. I was a businesswoman,
Mhm.
which is it was just the way I was at the time. But when Kira was born, when I was 29, that just broke out everything. The love you have for a little child who's now 28. So that was the beginning. And then I had another daughter. And then my father got sick. I think that was the catalyst for me. And I was very close to my father. And then I also lost a baby as well. So there was two very big events, and it just cracked me open. And then I went on to have my last daughter, who's now 22. And that was really when, I mean, I was working on stuff, and I went and did Reiki. I'm sure some of your fine people here have done
Yes,
Reiki.
there are
Oh
some.
my God. It was like everything just opened up, and all the memories started coming back, and seeing again, and seeing auras, and hearing. I'm a clairaudient. I'm
Mhm.
clairvoyant as well, but I'm very clairaudient. And so I started seeing colors, people, and I wasn't able to contain it. Um, and then everything just seemed to happen. I started painting again, which I hadn't done for years. I started writing, as I mentioned. And then the teachers, as they say, when the pupil is ready, the teachers appear.
Yeah.
And that's where Margaret came in. She was
Yeah.
one of those great teachers to me and introduced me to the power of numbers. And then I continued on doing more research, and I used to do a lot of work with her. And then I started doing the hands-on healing myself, and it was just very natural to me.
Uh-huh.
And I was literally guided the whole way, and I'm still guided. I go with the flow. And there has been, different experiences I've gone through in my life which have catapulted me into what I'm meant to do.
Mhm.
And but I always seem to land on my feet. It's I've been through lots, but I seem to always manage to get where I'm meant to go.
I
Um,
think if something is your path, then there's an ease, there's a flow about
mm,
it. Things happen, as you know, they fall into place much more easily. When everything's resisting, when it's hard, I always feel, that's when maybe we need to step back and just allow, and see.
yeah.
But is there anything? I mean, have you been able to do things such as your own past life regression, to see where you've been in past lives, and how is that sort of
Oh
manifesting
yeah.
itself in this?
Yeah. That's a brilliant question. And I feel, Trina, when we know who we are, I feel you have all the tools you need to go forward. And that's when I discovered numerology. I have a three
Ah,
life path, and it really gave me guidance. And the wonderful thing about numerology, and when I do a chart, is the timing of things
yeah.
and what your soul is urging us to do. And my soul was urging me to be a teacher, to pass on information and knowledge and wisdom. And I've loads of fives in my numbers, so I'm kind of a bit of a free spirit, but I have lots of tools in my toolbox. It's
Mm.
just the way I've come in. um, and then the three is the communicator,
Ah,
speaking up. So the more I get to know thyself, the more we're able to. So certainly in my past lives, I know exactly what my last past life was. It was I can even tell you the day I died. I died on September the 9th, 1945. And I came in
wow.
on September the 1st, 1964 after that. So um and I've always had a memory of that since I was very, very young. But
Okay.
I've been a healer in a lot of lifetimes. I've
Yeah.
had a lot of male lives.
Right.
So this has been curious, this
That
one.
is fascinating. And how do you feel when you do, say, past life work with other people? Do you feel that they're resistant to it, or do they kind of go, I remember?
Mm.
Or is there a sense of remembering more than a sense of informing for the first time?
Yes, I probably would. Well, I do. I have a service I provide. It's a 30-minute service where I do a past life reading for people based on the numbers. Um, and I've done regression. It's not a big part of my work. My work is more helping people to remember their soul's contract. So
Yes. Okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
yes.
Okay.
Oh, but I have done regression. I've done most
Then
things now you
everything.
can do at this point.
Yes.
And yeah, no, I was, as a child, I could remember, I get flashbacks, certainly a huge interest in Egypt. I always wanted to go to America. I lived in Canada for years. So, and I have a big connection with the guitars in France.
Ah, right.
Um, I mean, that's a conversation that could take an hour to tell, but that was when I went to France. I don't know if any of you lovely people have been to Carcassonne and Montsegur.
Oh, listen, I absolutely love it. I haven't been. There's another lovely lady member who actually has a house there now, and when she was there, she has a memory of being there as a nun many
Mm,
lifetimes ago, and
wow.
recognized the place, knew the rooms before she even went into them. So Carcassonne is
Wow.
very powerful. Yeah.
I'll book my holidays then.
Ah, yes, do.
Hard
They
neck.
love it.
My father used to say you've a hard neck. But I with love, he was a real dub. You've such a hard neck. I don't know where we got you from. But it's just that I tried everything. I've reinvented myself continuously through my life and continue to do so. I'm 58.
Listen, it's wonderful that you do. And so you now do this fabulous Numbers for Success podcast.
Mm.
You've loads and loads. I mean, do you do one every week? And
I do. I love it. And it came about when it was during the beginning of lockdown, really, around
yeah.
March, April. I was here and I just decided I'd love to talk about what's going on. And it just sort of grew legs. So
Mhm.
now it's around the world now.
It
Um,
is.
I still do it for free because I feel it's important to pass on that information.
Yeah.
And I talk about a lot of things. I talk about obviously numerology, but I bring in what's presently going on. And I'm really guided, Trina. A lot of the time I can be honest, I'm in my bed and I'm recording.
Ah,
So
well, it's such
um,
a natural thing. You have, as I said to you, there's a warmth and whatever, but I was blown away with your uh, discussions for the coming year because you did one and everyone should listen to it. I put up one today on my Facebook page, but yes, thank you, Trina. Thanks for putting it. Trina Hannon says she loves Numbers for Success. She's bought Gobshite book too. Great.
oh, brilliant. Yes, I do that with my pal Mick. We're doing another one now on Thursday. Gobshites on tour, we call ourselves. Yeah. Yeah. So
Fabulous.
we talk wisdom, but we just laugh. And he's a great pal of mine. And he
Yeah.
literally came into my life about 6 months ago. He's a dear friend. And he wrote a book called Ramblings of a Gobshite, which is a really good book. It's a
Yeah.
book of poetry that he channeled during lockdown. So when he heard my podcast, it just kind of felt right to come and invite him on. And it was a huge success.
Clicked
So we're
beautifully.
trying to be the next Tommy Tiernan and Hector. That's what
Well,
we're doing.
there's a lovely chemistry between the two of you, and Trina's probably obviously found that as well. What's interesting is today's one was fascinating because it's on everybody's minds and everybody's lips about obviously Dear Harry and his book, and also Lisa Marie Presley. And you did a really interesting um, sort of analysis, really, of their particular numbers and why how alike they are in a sense.
Yeah, I've always had this thing about Harry. There is something about Harry. I don't know if
Something
anyone
about
else
Harry.
agrees. I like Harry, and I feel I've always said this. And I remember Margaret, the beloved Margaret. We remember we were doing his chart, and this is a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I remember Margaret saying to me as well, he is a leader. He's a one life path. He's a 371, and Lisa Marie is a 279 in numerology. So whilst they have different numbers, they both carry the seven, which is about healing the past,
Mhm.
healing the family tree. It's about, it can be about paranoia. Now, this is general, of course, it
Yeah,
depends
yeah,
on and it can also be around, trauma
right.
and, child healing. And
Mhm.
they both have had major traumas, losing their, parents very
So
young.
good. Mhm.
um, but yeah, I love doing that. I love taking characters and looking at their numbers, and I love working with relationships. I get such a buzz out of that. Looking at the dynamics and how we could make things better, and
Yes.
it can numerology can be for all ages, from the very young to the very old, to the middle. It's brilliant.
I think it should be taught at school now, and and they should find a way of working through it like as a maths modality, because I couldn't, as I've said to everybody, couldn't pass maths to save my life. But once I heard about numerology, suddenly the magic of the numbers became so much more valuable and important. But you did say something really interesting today, and I'd love if you covered it a little bit, because it really involves the sort of imminent future. The fact that things are changing dramatically over the next
Mm,
coming weeks, and that we
yeah,
are moving we're on the cusp of the age of Aquarius. We've
we are.
talked about it for long enough, but what you're saying is this is it. We're ready. We're
This
heading
is
in. And you
yes,
talk about how we might approach that for ourselves. Do you want to
yeah.
talk a little bit about that for us now?
Sure. Yeah. We have a super new moon coming in on the 21st of January. And that's obviously going into Aquarius as well. And Aquarius is always to do with the people, the power of the people. And I firmly believe this date, the 17th, which is interesting that you asked me to come on this day, until the 24th. Uranus, which is the planet of sort of shocks and revelations and truth, is in its full glory at the moment. And like it's moving between signs at the moment. Like we're leading up to March 23rd, which is a big, big date. And Pluto, which is really about, again, it's about power, is it's starting its journey into Aquarius. And that'll be going on and off for 20 years.
Wow.
So 2044 thereabouts.
Okay.
So there's huge change. And 2023 itself adds to a seven. So as a universal number, we are in a 7 year. And seven is the number of the mystic. It's the time of, this is an opportunity for all of us to really look deeply into ourselves. It's a time of deep inner healing. And the seven, when you look at the seven, I always look at numbers as being I just see them as personalities. And the seven to me is like, almost like the, oh goodness, the person wearing a cloak. There's a word, I can't get a good word.
The hermit.
The hermit,
Hermit.
thank you.
Yes.
And he's carrying, or she or he are carrying a lamp, a lantern, like this. So that's the light bearer. That's the way I see that, the seven. And I guess this year is about healing the past, and it's an opportunity for us all to do so. Now, we all have our own personal years that we're in, as you probably know, but as a world, we're in a seven. And I feel, it's about trust, mistrust, healing, health, well-being. It connects with the soul star, connecting with source, finding, recognizing that there's a lot more. Nothing is as it seems. Nothing.
Okay.
And it's to find your own truth. And I really do believe, and I really believe this, that this year, science, seven again, and healing and medicine will go hand in hand in terms of, complementary healing. I
Right.
feel it's starting to happen, but it's going to get stronger. There's going to be a lot more. Maybe the med beds will start coming out. There'll be a lot more healing modalities, if you will, natural healing modalities, crystals, that we work with. I work with them all the time. I have them here on my lap.
Yes.
But there's a lot to express. And if you all think back, the last time we were in a 7 year was 2014. So maybe ask yourself what was going on in your life in 2014. The time before that would be, let me see now, I have it written down actually, 1997. And even before that, then 2005 is another one.
Right.
So there are times of 7 year energy. So what was going on in your life, if you want to think about that yourselves. But yeah, so coming up to this super full moon, new moon, pardon me, it really is an opportunity to come into your power. And there will be lots of surprises. There will be. And I suppose it's to, as I always say, to try and observe, not absorb. What's been played out on the world stage, is to be able to watch it from as if it's a movie, but also to take what you want from it, but try not to feed too much into it. That's what I would suggest. Again, this is just my opinion,
nice. So what you're saying is that with say, such as the whole sort of scenario going on with say Harry, we'll just take it because you mentioned it, or other things, rather than having very powerful opinions and that, to just simply observe and take it. So don't buy into the drama, basically. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's definitely more to that than meets the eye. I do believe Harry could bring down the monarchy, because he's a number one. He's a number one, and he's meant to do things his way. And perhaps there'll be lots of surprises along the way, which is what Uranus is about. And even, I have to say, I was awfully saddened about Lisa Marie. I don't know much about her per se, but I think it was such a shock.
Yes.
So young. It was only on the Golden Globes, and then 2 days later. So look, nothing, as I say, nothing is as it seems. So it's time to fill yourself with light. Like, this year is an opportunity for us to heal our past as a world. Like, we are on the cusp of, like, it's like the tower, and I don't do tarot, but the tower in tarot is like, it has to crumble down to be built back up again. So that's what this year is about. Letting the old, disappear and, fall down, and start building the new. It really will be, I believe, numerology wise, 2026 before the real new beginnings take place.
Okay.
It'll be a number 1 year.
And there'll be upheaval until then, is what you're saying. And you mentioned that so what our duty, our responsibility to ourselves, is to maintain our own vibrational level in order to keep ourselves on track, on purpose. I mean, you talk about soul contracts. In a sense, if we're very heavily affected by what's going on elsewhere in the world, how are we able to continue our own particular journey without fear, I suppose?
It's absolutely. And at the end of the day, we are co-creating.
Mm.
Like 2022, 222 last year was all about co-creation at its best, meaning like what we see through our own prism of our eyes is what's going on around us. Although there's obviously drama, we've all been through different things in our lives, but it's how we react or respond gets the result,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Yes.
And it's not to dismiss the pain people have been through and the losses. However, all of us here tonight are here with a divine purpose to bring this forward. And so those who have left the planet, their job is complete, and bless them all and thank you. And even the 7 is about our ancestors. I do a lot of work with intergenerational healing. That's a big part of my work through my numbers.
Yeah.
I'm very passionate about it, trying to heal the past so that the now can be the best we can have. That makes sense. So I can look at people's numbers and dates and names and figure out where the passion is.
Okay, and then are there practical steps that they can take in order to change that, break that cycle, or to heal that cycle? There are. Sorry, that's my dog who got a fright. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I have my dog upstairs because she'd be moving around all the time. So yeah, no, yes, there would be, and I would work with people, you know, obviously get the understanding of what's going on, what the lesson and the blessing is, and then try and take steps to heal that. Yes, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
so look, Grainne, for those who are here who haven't worked out their own, say, is it life path? Do you want to talk a little bit about numerology, though? I mean, literally, because you know, it's lovely that to get some knowledge. I remember when Margaret Nayland started to talk to us about it for the first time, my jaw hit the floor. I had never heard about it. I had no understanding of it. I was worried it was going to involve some sort of complicated maths, and was just struck by the brilliance of it all. But would you mind explaining just a little, if you wouldn't mind, to the members, what that is?
And will I use your date of birth if you're okay with that?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'd be thrilled to bits if you did.
You're okay. Yeah, I put my glasses on. So, do you want me to give the date of birth? No, I won't. I don't.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I don't mind. Who knows? It's all right. You can all wish me happy birthday then.
Okay, so Trina came in as Catherine Mary Cleary, isn't it? Can't even read my own writing. Yes. They're known as Trina. So you came in on the 28th of March. I won't give the year. I'll leave it. You don't need to have, no. So the first number I look at is the day you came in. So coming in on the 28th day of the month, it adds a tone of independence to who you are. So firstly, your inner child's age is a 1-year-old. So did anything significant happen when you were 1? Was there another sibling born?
A sibling was born. Yes, I was still. No, I wasn't. Was I? No, I was still 1 when she was born. She's here at the moment. Yes, I was. And very precious sibling. Yes, I have 4. Yeah, 3 others. Yes,
so that would be the first part. So you were numero uno, and then suddenly this other little creature came along. So that would have been part of your, you know. So of course, 28 is very much around you being your own person and being a leader. I'm born the first day of the month, so we tend to be mavericks. Okay, so we're here to be different, and it doesn't mean it's easy, you know. When I add your date of birth together, it comes to the same number as myself, which is a 30/3. So you are a 3 life path, and you're born in the 3rd month as well. So as a 3, you're very much here to communicate, and that's what you do. You're a networker, the archetype of the networker, someone who brings people together. Very much working with your solar plexus. So would you have sensitivity in the stomach?
When you say sensitivity, it's not that I have any problem with my stomach, but I know immediately. I definitely get a tingling and a response in my solar plexus, definitely. Yeah.
And also your throat would be another area sensitivity. So tongue, teeth, thyroid, tonsils, teeth.
Big thyroid problem, tonsils out at an early age, and yeah.
There you go. You're right on track. Well done.
Right on track.
And so the 3. I suppose one of the challenges of being a 3 life path is self-worth, you know, confidence, right? A lot of actors are 3s, so we tend to perform, but it can be behind, you know, we not pretending, but we know it's an image we portray. But 3 is one of the, it's called the sunshine number. It's the number of people who really want to bring joy and light to the world. And I know you do, like you're a tonic to talk to.
Ah,
And you know, and the 3, I feel it's like a magnet. Again, I'm dyslexic, so I actually see things a little bit different. It's just the way I am. I just see things a bit different. So I see the 3 as a magnet, and 3s draw people to them. Like we tend to love color. You know, I do wear black as well, but we tend to wear a lot of color, and we're out there. We love people, you know, we love dancing, singing, creation. You know, it's about, you know, the arts, all of those things. You're currently in your first year of a 9-year cycle. You're on your birthday is the new year for you, for all of you, and you're currently in your first year, and you'll head into your second year in a couple of months.
yeah.
Now, year 1 is about laying the foundations for the next 9 years. So it's probably been a time of new beginnings for you of some sort from
Yeah.
March of last year.
New ideas.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, yeah. And year 2 will be very much about working on those, what you've already started. And it tends to be more about collaborating, I'd imagine, and teamwork and relationships. So your beloved there beside you. And it's just about that, you know, coming together, supporting. And you are obviously a great support to people, I would imagine. So that's going to get be busier for you.
Right. Okay.
And even looking at your name, your soul urge is a 9, which is about, again, supporting those less fortunate or those who are troubled. It's about loss and recovery as well. I don't know anything about you really, Trina, until you
Yeah.
know. So it's very much around humanitarianism. And maybe would you work with people around bullying or anything like that?
No, but I would. Well, you see, I hadn't really dawned on me before. A number of people that I would speak with, some of them would have found themselves with maybe more controlling people around them, so they're developing their own voice, and that would be something I love to work with.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Well, you're definitely meant to do that.
lovely.
Not everyone can, and
Mhm.
it doesn't always. And it's also about spiritual awareness. Like you are somebody who has a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and to make sure to pass it on. So write that book.
That's funny you said that. Thank you.
Yeah. I can also give you ages that are significant.
Why
These are
not?
ages.
Is that okay
You
with
might as
everybody?
well. You know everything now.
Oh, lovely.
So
That
these
does
are
seem
they're
to
different for
sound-
everybody. Yeah, these are ages that when things tend to happen, I call them your soul return ages.
Yes. Yeah.
And so the first age is 1.
Mhm.
So then the next age is 16.
Mm,
So you
yes.
don't have to tell us, like, but
Yeah, no. Well, I would have
25.
that. What age?
Yeah,
20, 25, did you say?
16.
16, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not, but I think I changed as a person around about that age. And that would be
Yeah.
something. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And
16
change
is
of
usually turning on.
focus. Yeah.
Yeah. So then 25 is the next one.
Right. That was yeah, well, I was with Alan at that stage, who is now my husband. Yes. Yeah. And we moved in together.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Excellent. Then 34.
Right. That was a child. Yeah, I had one of my daughters at that age. Yeah.
And
Yes.
when we have children, in our soul return ages, there's usually a very strong soul contract
Ah,
that I love to dig into. So they're usually
yes.
the ones. I have one of those, my eldest, who puts the mirror up to me and shows me, well, yeah, you know, a bit like Wayne Dyer when he said he was sitting around the kitchen table one day, and his children were saying, well, look at you now, Wayne. If all your groupies could see you now, you know, they were giving out to him, you know. I have a daughter
Oh,
like that who puts the mirror up and says, well, look at you now.
yeah.
So, and then 43.
43 would have been, let me just think now. I'm running past these. Yes, actually, 43 was very significant. Yes.
Sure, you don't have to share. And
Yes.
I'm just going to give the rest of the ages,
Very
okay? Now, right to
yes.
the end.
Yes.
52.
Yes. Yeah.
52, okay. 61, which I think.
Well, that's where I am now. Yes. Yeah.
So
Okay.
this is
Now
a
you
key
all know.
time. Now you all know. Then
Yes.
70,
Okay.
79, 88, and 97.
Lovely. You can keep going.
Yeah, you can, yeah. For sure. So that's just an example. Now, a session takes an hour, friends. I've literally done that in what, 15,
That you've
10 minutes.
oh, thank you so much for that. That's really, really good for you. And great to get some insight into, the fact that there are patterns, there are cycles, there are things,
Oh, yeah.
that are, yeah. And when
Oh,
you say
yeah.
soul contract, Grainne, what is that? Well, how do we make some kind of contract with ourselves or with our
Yeah.
higher selves? What's that
Yeah.
about?
That's absolutely brilliant. Um, we do. And before we come in, together with our beloved angels and guides, and they have shown me this, and I genuinely mean this. And they show me that I remember seeing this council of beings. I've had a few near-death experiences in my time.
Yeah.
And so they showed me it was a long, like a table, a big long table full of all these different people. And so basically you decide, well, right, I'm ready to go back or to go to wherever.
Mm,
And so what happens is you choose your parents, master teachers, whether we like them, knew them, love them, or loathe them.
yeah.
And we choose the socioeconomic color of our skin, our gender, and what we're here to learn. So we have a soul contract, and I usually use a crystal when I'm working with clients. And
Yeah.
this is the one I'm carrying here on my lap. It's my lovely clear quartz. But there's thousands of pieces to that crystal.
Mm,
So in many ways, there's thousands of aspects of our soul, which we're here to kind of find as we go through life.
right.
So the breakups, the makeups, the breakdowns, the breakthroughs, we've all been there. They're all part of bringing you back to wholeness.
Okay.
And it can take many, many, many lifetimes. But equally, in a lifetime, I can speak for myself. I've had so many lifetimes within a lifetime.
Yeah.
And we do live in cycles. It's not linear, it's cycles within cycles within cycles.
That's such a
So,
hopeful thing. That's the most, I think if we were to take anything away from it, that's the most important. It's not a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's
no,
always an evolving and a kind of transcending in some way, that we're
yeah,
taking what we're doing now and moving forward with it and using it as best we can. I love that message within it. And I
yeah,
and I love the way you express that for
yeah.
others, Grainne.
Oh,
There's a
it's
few
very real though. And so, the cycles within cycles. So
Mhm.
when we've completed a cycle, we've an opportunity to start another one. And that's why it can take 9 years. In astrology, they say Saturn returns by 28, 29. I'm currently in my second Saturn
That is
return.
okay.
And
Mhm.
that's kind of why things are getting busier. And I think my gifts are getting stronger. That's just me at the moment.
That's a question
Um,
I want you to come back to. Do you mind just holding on there? So when you talk about Saturn's return, it's that 28-ish cycle that from
mhm.
when you're born. What do people expect at that time? I mean, what's actually happening there?
It's a rebirth.
Okay,
Yeah,
right.
a
And
rebirth.
do you find in the main that people reach a kind of sort of point in their lives at that stage where things come back to them, or they're confronted with things that they may have not dealt with, or
Mhm.
issues return for healing?
Yeah,
What actually is that really
it
what it's
can
about?
be. It can
Mhm.
be. It can be anything. And, you know, as in even for this year that we're in, year 7, we are being shown how far we've come and what to take with us from the past to bring forward
Yes.
for us collectively. Um, and in Saturn return, like Saturn is the Lord of karma. So it's about, again, the past being healed. Like we only have now, this moment. That's all we have. And
Yeah.
that's what's so wonderful, that we're mindfulness is such a big thing at the moment. And I just feel if we have to recognize the power of this moment and witness it,
Mhm.
that's when we are in our power. If that makes sense. And I hear the
Wonderful.
great
Yeah,
teachers talk about
absolutely. Oh, Grania, I love
it.
this. There's a number of questions. Do you mind if we go to some of
Go
them?
ahead. I can't see them, but just shout away. Yeah.
Sarah, I'm going. You heard Grania say something about the number 2, and you wanted to know what did number 2 mean. Did you, Sarah? If you want to pop on and unmute yourself and just say to me, what do you think you heard, or what do you mean by your question? I'm so sorry to. I know, Sarah. Come on and talk to me. Unless you've gone. Oh,
No, sorry, I couldn't
there you go.
unmute myself there.
There you go.
No, you mentioned something about the number 2. I was just saying, actually, 22 is a number that always seems to be around me for some reason, and I was just wondering, is there something about 2?
Oh, well, 22 is one of the master numbers, Sarah,
All right.
and we've just come out of obviously 2022. So the master numbers are 11, and then 22, 33, 44, 55, and so forth. And when you see those numbers, 2 is a number of, as I said to Trina, it's the number of choices and decisions. It's the divine feminine. So if you see a lot of 22, it's saying to you to be the master of your life. It's
Okay.
about gaining mastery in some element of your life. Would that make sense, Sarah?
Yeah, it's a key things. I don't know what everything ends up with 22. Like the air code of my house. You know, if I go to somewhere to do a test or something, I'm sitting at table 22. Everything just. My son went to do a big competition, and I was parked outside the building waiting on him, and the door across me was 22. It just seems to surround me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's a powerful number, and it is a high vibration. That's why last year was, for all of us, was going to be quite a challenging year, shall we say. So, but 22 is gaining mastery in your own sense of who you are. It's to do with your heart, the giving and receiving of love as well. Without going too deep.
Very interesting.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And on that subject, 23, and my sisters are here, and they'll know what I mean. My parents lived in the house number 23. When my dad passed, my mum got her own bank account, and it was practically 000023. And then when his cremated remains came back to us, his box number was 00023. And it just seemed that everything about their lives seemed to have a 23 going on in it, it was just a coincidence, I suppose, but also maybe there was something in that for them.
There's no such thing as coincidence, Trina, you know
well,
that?
Suddenly not. They're heavily on my mind because this is the year 2023, and it's the 23 bit that I keep thinking Mum and Dad would have loved this one, because it would have been there.
And 23 is the number of change.
Is that right? Yes. Yeah.
So we have a lot of changes going to happen this year. But I mean, it is a very powerful number in itself, and actually meant to say that one of the most important dates for all you lovely people to know is the 7th of July 2023. That's 777.
Oh, we're putting this down straight away.
You'll be sick of the sight of me on social media.
But
it's like a huge portal of energy. There's going to be a massive shift around that time.
Well, that's very good. My husband's birthday is the 23rd of the 7th, 23. Isn't that interesting?
There we go again. He's going to have 23, and every when we have the day and the year the same, like we had 2023 of the first 2023, they're always powerful portal days. They're high vibrational. Yeah.
Right. So we do all the launchings and all the new careers and everything else, ladies.
Absolutely.
Let's have a look. Anna Marie says, Trina, I find this subject fascinating, and thank you, Grainne. Isn't that lovely? I love that people find it fascinating.
Thank you.
Lovely. Trina Hannon says, Trina supports. Oh, you talked to me to reach the potential. Thank you so much. Grainne, you have Trina perfectly. Thank you, Trina, for saying that. This is Trina Hannon. And you corrected that. Teresa, you're not the first person to tell Trina to write a book, Grainne.
It's time.
Katie, this is my daughter. Don't look a day over 20, mother. Thank you very much, darling. You have a lovely meal for you tonight. Carmelita, I felt a profound sadness on the last few hours of 2022. Is that unusual? That's a good question. Sorry, Carmelita.
Yeah, well, I guess, Carmelita, it depends. I mean, our new year is always our birthdays. Whilst the calendar will change, like 2022 was a 6 year, 222, and it was about community. It was about coming together. It was about family issues as well, because a lot of us were, people were separated. Like, I have 3 daughters and they all live overseas, so it was quite a challenge for me not being able to see them, because they couldn't come home, a lot of them, from traveling. So but we all came together at Christmas, so it was great. But sometimes we can feel things at the end of a year. It's just another shift, and we're shifting into the real age of Aquarius that they've been talking about since the year 2000, but it was really 2023 it's going to happen.
Okay. Carmelita, that's interesting, and
Yeah.
maybe follow some more of what Grainne is saying to get a little more insight
Yeah.
into that. There you are. Hello, lovely.
Hello. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
Carmelita, hello.
hello, Grainne. It's just lovely to be here. It's really, really interesting. Yeah, but it was quite profound, my sadness, and it lasted a few days. It's just like I whatever it was, I seem to have loved 2022. I hated letting it go, and then yeah, it was weird. It was very unusual. But you said there about change, so yeah, I suppose we'll just have to be ready. Yeah. Thank you.
And you see, everyone, and Carmelita, really thank you for sharing it, because it really, everyone's chart is different. I'd have to do a chart in order to see where you're at in your life cycle at the moment, and that would be part of it too.
Yes.
And of course, the energies that are going on around us, like we're in the eye of the storm at the moment, and it's going so fast. You know, when you're on a plane and you're doing 500 kilometers a second, or when even more, and we're not recognizing we're moving. So that's where we're at. So you're obviously a lovely sensitive soul, and 22 is the master builder, as Sarah was speaking about.
Yeah.
So it's gaining mastery to move into the next stage of change, and change is scary, let's be honest. It is.
Carmelita was one of
But
our
we'll be okay.
Carmelita was in your chair a few weeks ago as well. She talked to us about her fabulous business, and you're the aesthetic nurse in Galway. Yeah, and I'm
how wonderful.
wishing you more and more successes this year.
Thank you, darling. Thank you so much, and many, many happy returns to everybody here tonight.
Thank you, Carmelita. That's lovely. Can I say, Eileen, I know, had a birthday only a few days ago, and she's saying the end of the month dates are independent people, but what about the middle month dates? That's a good question.
What does that mean? Sorry, I couldn't quite hear that.
Eileen is saying that and I just said her birthday was actually a couple of days ago. She said the end of the month dates are independent people. So what about the middle of the month dates? I think because you said, because I did 28 and you're at the beginning, that makes people independent. What about the middle dates?
Oh, yeah. Well, it wouldn't really, it just depends. It's I add everything together, so it's not really to do with where it comes in the lineup. I like your brain, whoever. That's very clever. And what day is this? Sorry, Eileen.
Eileen, your date of birth was what? The 13th, the 14th?
It was the 14th of January.
Happy birthday,
Bronya. Yes.
14th.
So it was Saturday last.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Very good, Eileen. Hi, lovely to meet you. Well, 14 is actually a karmic number. So it just means that there's a little bit extra work to be done in a lifetime. It's not a bad thing. I have karma. We all have karma. So you're here to be a change bringer, Eileen. So make sure you embrace change. Don't resist it. And I'd say you're a bit of a free spirit.
Yes. Yes.
And you're meant
energy.
To be. Yeah, and you're definitely a maverick. You're definitely a maverick. I can see it.
Thanks.
And but you know, you're somebody that is meant to make sure not to resist change. That's really important.
Eileen was very senior in a man's world, and would have blazed a trail for women within her.
Oh, you go! I love you for that. That's brilliant, because the 1 is about the individuality. The 4 is about this ability to, from the heart, you know, the heart chakra, and also a hard worker, I'd say, you know.
Yes.
Not afraid to. Yes, and detail, attention to detail. I mean, I could go really deep.
Yeah, they're all there. Yeah.
But you are here, Eileen, to definitely be the trailblazer, to break through, to break free. So
thank you, Grainne.
And can I just say also, Grainne, that Eileen, you know, once you had retired, took up Argentinian tango and went and toured South America and even did competitions and that kind of thing. This is all before COVID, of course.
Oh, you're amazing.
Yes, yeah, she is absolutely, she's the trailblazer for women and for people all around.
Thank you.
Love your energy, Eileen, always do. Thank you. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Grainne.
Can I run to Sandra Oaks? Sandra's saying her date of birth, Grainne, she's given her date of birth, which is the 6th of the 1st, 1966. And she says, what is my number, please? This is all very interesting. Thank you. Can you work that out?
Sandra, is it?
Sandra Oakes, yes.
So Sandra, well, all those sixes always intrigue me. When I see numbers that are repeated, there's usually a major message. So for Sandra's, I say, Sandra, you're a high sensitive. And maybe you might be prone to maybe, issues around like foods or, milk, sensitivity to foods perhaps. But ultimately it's very much around self-worth, self-care. I'm not going too deep, obviously, here in front of loads of people, but so it's about really recognizing your own worth. And also maybe, would you be a teacher of some sort, or someone who passes on
Sandra, do
wisdom
you want
and
to pop
knowledge?
that in? Sandra, if you want to open your mic, please do. Don't worry about the camera. Or if you just want to stick it in the
Yeah, there's no
the
problem.
chat. You there, Sandra?
An 11 is a high vibration to come in on. It means that you're here to really make a difference. And we all are.
Mhm.
Whereas an 11, it's usually, it's about this heightened awareness and the humanitarian.
Nice
Imagine.
one. I have an 11 daughter as well, actually, which is interesting.
Wonderful.
Elizabeth says 33 is a number that figures a lot in my life. Loving this evening. Very interesting. So
Right.
for Elizabeth,
I love 33. Yeah.
33, do you?
Yeah, it's a double 3. It's a double creative expression. But 33, which adds to a 6, can also be around perfectionism and high ideals, which is fine. But sometimes perfectionism can keep us stuck. So just to be aware of that, if one has to get everything right, if you're doing a painting and you destroy it so much from rubbing out whatever. So it's more to try and recognize and honor the creative expression within, but also recognize that you're here, you've a gift of communication. So it's beautiful. I love, and 33, features a lot. I suppose it said that Jesus or Yahshua died at 33. It appears a lot in different doctrines, but it is a master number. It's a number of the Christ consciousness number, it's called.
Okay, really interesting. And you mentioned that about communication. Elizabeth has a lovely voice, particularly good singer, and also very creative. I know that because she's a super photographer and people and all of that kind of thing. So that's a lovely thing to know about her. And Oil, you're saying, thank you so much, Grainne. Loved your angel cards for kids when my own were little.
Thank you.
Where can we get can we get these? Yes, can we get them online, Grainne?
Probably not so much now, but I still have some. If people want them, I can certainly send them out.
Lovely. Now you heard it. And Grainne's email address is, do you mind me saying, is numbers4success@hotmail.com. Am I wrong?
No, it's numbers4success22@gmail.com. That's all right.
I'm just going to put it in.
And there's no spaces. So numbers4success, all small, 22, that's my favorite number, @gmail.com.
Okay, so
also my website is numbers4success.com.
Right. So guys, if you even just look up their website, Numbers for Success, or if you put Grainne's name in, Grainne Tyndall, it will bring you there as well, and to her Facebook page and to a number of other things. I just want to go back. So thank you for that. My daughter's birthday, let me just see, did I run over anybody? Thanks, Anne. That was a lovely thing. To everyone, my daughter's birthday is the 20th. So this is is Evelyn, is this you that says my daughter's birthday is the 23rd of March? Any advice?
Yeah.
Great question. Because you were saying that.
So 5 and 3 is 8. And so that would be a number 4 year then for your daughter. So I don't know how old your daughter is, but
she'll be 31 on the 23rd.
Okay, so this would be a year maybe of her gaining security in some way. Maybe, maybe she's planning or preparing to be a little bit more secure in her life, maybe a home or a new job or something like that. It would be a good time for it.
Okay, great. Yeah, she's heading off to the States, so
oh, good. Okay, do very well. Yeah, it's security. Yeah, security and stability would be important this year.
Lovely. Thank you. Oh, hard work. A lot of hard work. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for that question. Claire, can we pop it? Yes, so anyone who speaks, pop yourselves back on mute. Thank you so much. Claire, you are saying this is very interesting. Yes, indeed. What would 1111 mean when it appears a lot? There you go, 1111. Go on,
yeah, I've written articles about this. Yes, many of them. 1111 is a wake-up call, and it's only really come into the force since the year 2000. So when you see 1111, it's literally a reminder from the universe, a little nudge, a nudge from the universe to say you're on track, or are you on track, or are you off track? So it depends what your mindset. To me, it looks like two pillars, and it's an opportunity, it's a portal to walk through to gain mastery again, because it's a master builder, no, it's a master number. So 1111 is a high vibration, and when we see it a lot, it's like, you know, are you listening? Are you on your path? Because you know yourself when you're off your path. You know, we all do. I mean, we're human. But when you're on your path and you start seeing it more, then it's kind of like, well done.
I love that you say that, because it also shows you and proves to you you're not alone. And I think very often when people see it, it's a sense of, look, we're here with you. You're not on your own. And it's a reminder.
You can see who's around us. We're never, ever alone. I promise you.
And do you actually see people, Grainne? Can you see? I know you said you're clairaudient. Can you see people as well? Do you have?
Oh, I can. Yeah, they come and visit. When I'm doing my readings, I sit here. This is my Zen area, and I can have all the heat on, fires blazing, everything, and the room goes like a fridge.
Wow.
So that's when I know there's some people coming to say hello. It's only in recent years I admit that, but I've been doing that all my life, but most of my life. But it's only in recent years I talk about it.
I am so glad you do. Yes. I think the more people who talk about it, the better, because that actually was the original reason I had. I'll get back to questions in a second, for setting up the Tuesday Night Club. I found that when women got together, particularly those of us in our wisdom years, that the conversation tended to come back to either loved ones who'd passed or where they are now, or even our own kind of, you know, sort of wondering about what it's all about kind of questions, and finding you know, things fascinating and wanting to discover more about the sort of wisdoms, the spiritual wisdom and other things in life. And so that's the whole point of this. So the fact that you will speak up, or even all of the members here who do, the more we talk about it, the more it becomes natural for people to evolve and to explore their own gifts and their own abilities and that kind of thing.
And it's so beautiful. You know, if I can share a story on that, with numbers as well, which is interesting to 22. It's 6 years now. My mother was unwell and she was in a hospital, and my only sister still lives in Canada. I came back, you see, she stayed on. And so I remember I was at that place where I had to make the famous call, like, will I tell my sister to come home? Because my mother, we used to call her Lazarus, because she'd so many comebacks, you know. And now she was well into her 90s, but she was a real character. So anyway, I asked Spirit, I said, please, you know, give me a sign as to what to do. So I was in the hospital the whole time. I never left the hospital for the few days and weeks I was there with her. And I kept seeing the numbers 222. And now everywhere, you know, I don't wear a watch, but everywhere, you know, I was moving around, and, you know, it's just really weird on my phone. And so anyway, I knew then, I said, aha. So I remember phoning my sister, and my sister arrived back on the 22nd of the 2nd. And my mother died on the 22nd of the 2nd at 11:02.
Ah, for goodness sake, Grainne.
Yeah, that's a true story.
That is fascinating.
And it was such a beautiful, and she waited for my sister to come, but I kept being shown the signs. So the more we look for the signs, I am no one special. I just do this work. So it's when we're open to the signs of the universe, they will show it to us. Like, we get in the way. I'm an expert at it. But when we really ask and wait and watch and feel and hear, we're in. It's beautiful.
Oh, gosh, absolutely. And our lives just constantly enriched. I believe every single day we can have more and more magic and beauty and wonders and you know, delights. Even, you know, doing something as simple as you discovered, the morning pages, you know, the things that come through and that allow us see things coming, you know, even downloading through us. Let me just have a quick one. This is Maura, my lovely sister. My number is a 4. Would this be a good year to retire? Yes, Maura. Fantastic evening. So important, informative, and interesting. Don't mind me. I'm sorry, Grainne. I know nothing. That's it. She's saying her number is a 4, and would this be a good year to retire?
Yeah, well, fours are. I'd love if I had staff people. I would always love to employ fours because fours are diligent, hardworking, dot the i's and cross the t's, and have a strong work ethic. You know, very loyal. So the year we're in 7, this is a really good year because Maury, because you can maybe learn a new skill for yourself, something fun, something uplifting. You know, maybe tap in more to your spirituality and who you are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
really good.
I love it. Jackie Smith says, hi Grainne, I know I'm a 1, but 4 follows me. My date of birth is 04/04/64. My daughter was born at 4. Her daughter was born at 4/4/4 on the 14th of the month. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. I'm loving it. That's so Grainne, what she's saying is she's a 1, but 4 follows her date of birth as 04/04/64, and the daughter was born at 4/44 on the 14th. So is there something about that, all of the 4s turning up?
Yeah, my God. And 444 is the angels are surrounding you at this time. So your daughter is obviously very connected. What a wonderful time to be born. And 4 is a heart. It's the giving and receiving, and it's so beautiful. And I just feel, I'd say that that person is a very heart-centered person. The person who just spoke, you missed
Jackie.
Yeah. Jackie, thank you. And you know, so again, it's you know, I'm always saying it, but it's about balance. It's the giving and receiving. So maybe it's important for Jackie to have boundaries as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, and Jackie, that's very interesting. And I know that you've spoken before about, you know, sort of. I think I'm right. It's you that there are sort of wonderfully intuitive elements within your life and your family's life as well. Yeah. Jackie, you're there, are you, Pet?
Yes, and you're spot on. Yes, thank you so much. And my daughter is very intuitive, as Trina. I've spoken with Trina about that. So yeah, thank you so much.
She's a little angel.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Grainne.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Mary, thank you, Trina. Grainne, fabulous evening. Thank you. Elizabeth Young, many thanks for that, Grainne. You were talking about the 33 with Elizabeth there. And Sandra, you're spot on. Sandra had a question earlier. Very sensitive person, and she's still learning to exercise some self-worth. You spoke with her about her birthday with the 6s in it. Thank you for that. Lorraine Stack. How do I get my number for adding the numbers in my date of birth? Okay, Lorraine. Once more with feeling. Grainne, do you want to tell people how to work out their own life path number?
So yeah, you basically just add all the digits together. I'm not trying to be smart, and you put in the 19 because we're all, I think, well, probably all of us are born 19 something.
Yeah.
And so you'll come to usually double digits, and you add them together, except an 11 or a 22.
Okay, and you do
each number has a significance as well. So it would be better probably to get a reading done per se. You can certainly look it up, but it's not the same, you know.
No, exactly. Having the reading done. I mean, I've often told people how to add it up themselves, but really I don't have the knowledge, the insight, the skill that you have. So it's only a kind of fun. It's a bit like looking up your daily horoscope as opposed to having a really good astrological reading done. And this would be similar. So that's it, Lorraine. Tori, is your name important?
Thank you.
Hi, there you are. That's the lovely Lorraine. We'll find out what your number is, okay?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our name is very significant. Again, that would take a little bit more time, but each letter of your name has a number attached. So basically, we look for the vowels and the consonants and add them both together, and it does have a significance. Yeah, absolutely. It's your soul contract. It's your personality number, and your destiny is in your name.
Very interesting. I have a funny thing, and I don't want to hold you too much longer, in that there are some people who, no matter how much I think about them, their name is not the one that comes to my mind as soon as I go to speak to them. And the name that I want to use is always the same. I mean, I literally go to speak to someone and go, for example, there was one girl called, now I nearly say her name was, we'd say it was Zoe. And every time I spoke to her, I called her Rosemary. And she was Rosemary. I just knew she was. So, and it was this, you know, it happens with other people too. I just find it funny. Thank you, Trina and Grainne, wonderful subject, fascinating food for thought. Well, Rose, just go and start looking in on the podcast Numbers for Success, and you'll hear so much more about it as well. Trina is so honest, love this evening. Grainne is so honest, love this evening. Thank you. Teresa, thank you, Grainne, for a wonderful subject. Sarah, her mother and grandmother, Sarah had mentioned about the 22 and it turning up, and she said both her mother and her grandmother died on the 22nd of the month. There's that 20.
High vibration. Yeah.
And Emer, thank you so much there. She's saying thank you, Grainne, and very interesting.
Pleasure.
Grainne, I know that you're super you voted best psychic in Ireland. I love this. And
I know.
I know. I think
Yeah, people wrote in. I couldn't believe it. I was a bit shocked. But there you are. Yeah, it's another, yeah. But I suppose for me, my cover, if you will, is my numbers.
yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah.
But you're using your you're bringing the intuitive messages all the time. Thank you very, very much for coming and speaking with us this evening. Do you have any message? Is there anything that you kind of want to leave us with? Any, from all that you've learned, from everything that means so much to you, from the kind of gift that you've been handed the responsibility of, in a sense, to lead other people. Is there something?
Yeah, it's a brilliant question. I suppose I did mention there in passing, I did have a couple of near-death experiences in my life, this current lifetime. So that kind of has catapulted me into understanding there is so much more to what life can bring us. But we are the actors, producers, directors, performers of our lives. And from the moment the light hits the pituitary gland and you're in, to the time you transcend out through your crown to the other worlds, it's to enjoy it, make the most of it, learn to embrace this experience, and also change when change is needed. And remember, you are a part of thousands of individuals who came before you to create you. So you are important, you're significant, you are worthy of being here at this time. And I do believe my guides have told me we have about 3 times we can actually leave. So there's kind of 3, this is what my guides have told me. So we have a few get out clauses, if you know what I mean. And then we have our final exit. But we have a few times. So I've had 2, so I'm on my last one. So the next time I'm out. But and I make light of it, but I'm okay. I was able to see in that experience, I've seen what there is. So that's why I really can talk from experience. And to enjoy this time and know thyself. Get to know it. It makes no difference how old you are in life. It's to know yourself, the best version of who you are, and to have a good time.
I love it. That's the action. That is the most wonderful gift. And that's what I'm saying to you. So uplifting, so hopeful. Have a good time. I love that. Thank you for everything. Thank you very much for coming and speaking with us this evening. And I do hope you come back and talk to us again. Because
I'd love to. I like to talk. So there's never a problem.
Well, the floor is yours as often as you like, and I really hope we see you again. I'm looking forward to lots more from you.
Thank you, everybody, for your time. Much love.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody, for coming this evening and for welcoming Grainne so beautifully. I'm so pleased to see so many of you. I'll send you out notes in the next couple of days and the recording as well, so that you can have a look at it again if you want to go back over anything. Bye, everybody. Good night. See you next time. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.